Wrestling in 2022 has been some shit, hasn't it? If you told anyone before 2022 started that Cody Rhodes would be the first superstar to jump from AEW to WWE, well, I think you would have heard a few different things. 1, shut the fuck up, you little e-drone, you know nothing about wrestling. 2, I don't know what you've been smoking, but please let me get ahead of that. And 3, there's not a shot he's going back to that shit show to don the paint and the golden suit again, because we all know WWE can't book to save their lives. Look at Swerve Scott and look at Keith Lee. Yet, here we are. It is WrestleMania week, and we're on the cusp of Cody Rhodes debuting and competing in his first Mania in about 6 years. Also, if you did have Cody leaving AEW for WWE in your 2022 bingo cards, please see your way to my DMs. FanDuel Sportsbook is legal in Brooklyn, and your boy needs to hit on some parlays, okay? You can make a very strong case that Cody Rhodes has been one of the biggest stars outside WWE for the last 6 years, going on a really strong Indies run after requesting his release after Mania 32, I believe. He then went and appeared in many different promotions such as ROH, New Japan, Pro Wrestling, Impact, and even in that time capturing the ROH Championship, New Japan Pro Wrestling United States Championship, even capturing the Global Force Championship. Remember when that was a thing? Global Force Wrestling? And even in that time capturing the NWA Heavyweight Championship at an event him and the Young Bucks came together to co-create called All In. Hey, there's me and some of my homies. We actually drove all the way from New York to Chicago for All In. Now, as you can see, this is the first video on my YouTube channel, and this is a hell of a topic to cover, but I think it's a topic that's extremely interesting, because I think right now, Cody Rhodes is one of the most captivating characters in wrestling. So, here's to a great video. Hopefully you like it. Hopefully no one's offended. Hopefully no one thinks, lesser of me, calls me anything in the comments or says anything crazy, because, wrestling fans are always respectful. But let's get started, and let's look at the curious case of Cody Rhodes and WWE. Now, while I have you here, please like and subscribe. Also share this video. I really appreciate it. I've been trying to work on a wrestling YouTube channel for God knows how long, and I appreciate every like, view, share, subscriber. We're going to try and do a video every week. Trust me, there's many of topics I want to cover of all different brands. I'm still trying to get into Joshi wrestling, so I want to get into some stuff there as well. So please like, comment, tell me how you feel. Tell me what type of topics you think you might like to hear me talk about. I'd like to make an essay video about some. So let's get started. So I want to first take a look at this from a possible Cody perspective, right? Then we might look at this at a possible AEW perspective, and finally a WWE perspective. Am I going to give you timestamps? Hell no. I need all the viewership time. So let's look at this from a possible Cody perspective. Now, let me clear one thing up early. I've never been company over wrestler. Like, I'm never going to support the brand of the company over a said performer. I'll always like a company. Sure, I mean, come on. I like AEW right now more than I like WWE. But with all that said, I'm really going to stand behind the performer and doing what's best for them, because a company is always going to do what's best for them financially. I look at a performer such as Mustafa Ali, and that man should be tearing it up somewhere right now. Not on the goddamn sidelines, because the company, 1, doesn't have creative for him, 2, don't want him to be free because they see potential in him, but they don't put him on goddamn TV. Then I could kind of look at a talent like a Lio Rush. His whole ending of AEW type of scenario is really muddy and murky, and we don't have a lot of clarity on it, especially from all the swole stuff. So it leaves a nasty taste in your mouth, especially when you think about the fact we still have a lot of leg room on what Lio Rush could have done in AEW. Could you have imagined Lio Rush and Swerve right now? God damn! Now, with all that being said, let's look at Cody. If we're examining Cody from a point of view, very objectively, not trying to be a super fan or being tribalistic in any of our stances, we're just looking at what this man may have done over the last 6 years to build back the worth of the name Cody Rhodes whenever it's on the marquee. Holy shit, this man might be a damn genius. When you look at when Cody left WWE last, he was pigeonholed into the role of Stardust. a character that he went all out for, but he was really over and he really wanted to get out of it. It was a lower to mid-card act, and honestly, he wasn't going anywhere fast. When you look at today, especially if we're being honest about the landscape of WWE, he's going back pretty much as the top babyface post-Mania. I mean, let's be honest, we all love Cowboy Brock, but we know we're not getting that after post-Mania. And then, who's your next big babyface? Is it Drew McIntyre after all the Happy Corbin stuff? I don't think so. Big E's on the shelf. May he have a speedy recovery, but Cody is pretty much your next big babyface. Cody hasn't just built up his name throughout the wrestling world, being a champion each and every company that he's been to, but also in the pop culture sphere. Cody does have a name. Cody has had a reality TV show. Cody has been a host of a game show. It's like Cody's done everything The Miz does, but we actually give a damn about what he does in the actual ring. Not to shit on The Miz, but I mean, if we're going to be honest here, when's the last time you cared about a Miz match? I mean, for the love of God, he had a freaking zombie match 2 months after he won the damn championship. Cody legit made himself a mainstream Impact character. He made sure that he had a personality and a certain level of weight behind his name before even coming back to WWE. He has a ton of notoriety. Him coming back to WWE has garnered them a shit ton of attention. And if they do something notable with him, who knows what can happen. Now, with all that being said, I know we can't ignore the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room is exactly saying, what the fuck happened at AEW? So now let's kind of examine this from an AEW and Cody aspect. Cody has been on record saying things like, I want to be the EVP until I die. Saying how much it's us versus them. Hell, he's done a fair share of that. Remember the Bullet Club being outside of Raw? Not saying that he was the brainchild, but let's not act like he wasn't a part of that. When Fightful's Sean Ross Sapp reported that Cody Rhodes was working as a free agent, I'm sure we all thought, it's a work. Now, that's a term I'm not going to be using anymore because I don't know what the fuck a shoot and a work is anymore. But I think I can speak for everyone when I say this. When he, Brandy, and AEW posted statements about them leaving, we all jointly said, "Hey yo, what the fuck? You what?" For a long time, I just thought this was all about money. But then when you listen to Kenny's interview he did with Meltzer on the Wrestling Observer, well, maybe money wasn't a factor. You know, when you go back and you look at the promo that Cody cut on January 19th, the week before Beach Break, man, Cody was spitting some facts, bro. But he was talking a little extra spicy. For all of you non-New Yorkers who do not understand what I mean by that, he was hitting a lot of great points, but he had a very snappy tone. Keep up, my guy. He started the promo by saying, "Someone told me to save this promo, but honestly, I don't know if I'll get the chance, so I'll say it now." And he then proceeded to cut one of the best promos he may have cut ever in AEW. Not gonna lie, by the tone of that, I thought we was about to get Cody versus Punk this summer. I will say though, I still believe that door is open, and I will come back to that later on into the video. But man, if you listen to that promo, and trust me, I've listened to it a few times, you hear someone who's pretty agitated and feels very much underappreciated. And if you really look at it around the start of 2022, I can see it. Not only did Cody feel underappreciated maybe by the crowds, maybe by AEW, but I just think he just felt underappreciated in just who he has built himself up to be over this last 6 years. You know, why? Let's look at it from the ending of 2021 all the way to like the beginning of 2022. With all the signings, the crowd reactions, people wasn't treating Cody as the same star that he was, especially when the company had first started. When you look at it, even with the Coles, the Punk, the Danielsons, Kenny was still the top male star. He's still the top male star, and he hasn't wrestled since Full Gear. The Bucks are still the tip top of the tag division. and they haven't had the titles in quite some time. Cody was being seen less and less as the face of the company, and that could also be attributed to the interview that was done with Tony Khan. Not wanting to blame Tony, but Tony did say, I am the booker, I am in charge, I run everything. I could see how all of that can sour someone. Even if you go back and you look at his interview on Wrestling, he doesn't seem to have the same joy and love that he was talking about AEW when he said, I want to be an EVP until the day I die. So I think more than anything, he may have felt underappreciated, he may have lost some joy, and I think the think pieces and the love and the reactions from the crowd of just like, oh, he wants to be John Cena, I think that just got to him after a certain point, and maybe the man just wanted to start anew. Maybe he felt the same way he felt when he left WWE. It's kind of crazy to think about that. Also, we have to stop with this whole thing that Cody buried everybody. So we're going to act like he didn't help Brody Lee establish who he was. Like he didn't lose to Darby for the TNT Championship. Like him and MJF wasn't a good program. Don't get me wrong, the Go-Go program was pretty shit. And also, I don't know why he needed to beat Malachi Black the second time. But we're not going to act like this man hasn't been putting on bangers and been a goddamn great performer in AEW. We have to stop. Stop the bullshit. It's like the people who tried to tell me Jinder Mahal had a goddamn good title reign. Shut the fuck up. But I do feel Cody just needed a change of scenery. I feel that this was something that wasn't as nasty or explosive as it could have been. I mean, let's look at CM Punk and WWE. That was pretty fucking nasty. This was something way less. He's a homegrown star for AEW, and I still think on some point he is needed. I don't think the door is closed forever. I just think it's closed for the time being. And with that being said, let's look at where Cody will be calling home next. If you are a diehard WWE fan, I want you to understand, I'm not saying this to be disrespectful. I am saying everything from here on out to be really honest and very truthful. Because we need to get to the point that everyone else is thinking about. What's going to happen with Cody and WWE? Now, if we're being honest, WWE... Okay, look, I know it's bait. I know it's probably... But no, this has triggered me. I have to cover this now. This is a completely different outro for this video than I originally did. But this is kind of the antithesis of what my issue is with WWE. Let's answer this question. Can Cody Rhodes be successful in WWE? The answer is yes. Actually, he can be quite successful for them. He can be a spark that they necessarily need. Now, here's the real question that we all have in our minds. Do we trust WWE to not fuck this up? And the answer is hell fucking no. Look, here's the thing. I am a scarred past WWE fan. I've been a fan for nearly 30 years of professional wrestling. My first pay-per-view was barely legal 97 at the age of 7. Then I found NWO. Then I got into WCW even more when I saw Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio Halloween Havoc 97. I have been following wrestling nearly 30 years. And I could tell you each and every time I've gotten my hopes up for somebody coming to WWE and WWE shoots me in the back of the head and kills all my hope. That was pretty graphic, but it is a perfect summary for how I feel as a WWE fan. So then when I look at Cody can be a game changer. They do not have a babyface to face Roman once they come out of night 2 of WrestleMania. Hate to say it, Drew is weak right now, booking wise. Not because he's weak, but also who the fuck is cared about Happy Corbin? Then when I look at AJ and Edge is missing something. And it's two things. One, you've booked AJ to be a heater for Omos for almost over a year, which is kind of flattening him out, so the crowd doesn't really care because he hasn't been pushed like how he needs to be pushed. And two, you turn Edge to a heel for what? For absolutely fucking what? So we could get a blue light and some new music? That's pointless. His whole gimmick was ultimate opportunist. You didn't need to turn him heel for this pointless feud. How many times have we seen WWE fuck up shit with hot shot booking? Legit, I can name you The Fiend, and I can name you a couple of Universal title reigns, i.e. Goldberg, twice. It is ridiculous. So then when I look at that and I look at Cody, my faith is a little rocky. I want to see Cody do great. All you need to do is just have Cody main event one Mania and get a championship belt. Like get a Universal or WWE championship belt. And that's it. And I say those two because, let's be honest, they're saying title unification, but we all know by at least SummerSlam, probably later Survivor Series, they're going to ununify the belts. Because what are you going to do? Survivor Series is the one time a year where Raw versus SmackDown. If the titles are unified, you can't have that, because then who's the champion facing? It doesn't make sense. So he needs at least one championship reign, and he needs at least one Mania main event, and you've made it successful with Cody. Do I trust WWE? Hell no. How many times have we said this person is can't miss, they cannot mess this up? We thought Keith Lee would be a perfect fit in the system. We thought Braun Strowman was a WWE for life. We really thought with The Fiend you had printed money. Jesus F Christ, have they gone and messed it up each and every time that we think that they can't miss. Legit, the only difference is if you miss with Cody, you can fuck up the future of what WWE can be. Somebody might look at that and say, oh, that's being overdramatic. But you can tell they probably want to lure some people away from AEW. You can tell they probably want to lure away a Jade Cargill. To me, Jade Cargill is the next big breakout crossover star in wrestling, period. I'll make another video for that. You do probably want to lure away a Ricky Starks. You probably do want to back a Brinks truck up to MJF's house and say, how about you come over here? But if you fuck up Cody, well, you ain't getting that. And there's also a way where if you play this right with Cody, well, wrestling itself can be benefited. I think there's a way where Cody being successful in WWE can help benefit AEW. And it benefits him if he eventually leaves to go back to AEW. In the time that Cody's gone, if you establish someone like a Eddie Kingston to be the heart and soul of AEW, what he already is, because anyone who faces that man has to become a heel, because that crowd will boo you unmercifully. If you have, as soon as he comes back, he has to go through Eddie Kingston. He has a rivalry with CM Punk where he's telling the CM Punk, I did everything you complained that you could never do. I was the Forbidden Door. And not only that, I went back through that Forbidden Door to main event of WrestleMania and win a championship in the main event. Tony Khan can literally print any amount of money that he wants. It is coming in droves. You could almost play a Cody Rhodes going back to AEW, similar to when Shibata was trying to get back in good graces with New Japan. It literally writes itself. The main thing is, Cody cannot be fumbled or fucked up on this run. And I'm scared with WWE that they're going to do hotshot booking. Like, there's a rumor that Cody or Seth, whoever would win that match, would end up being placed as the next person to face Roman. Which makes sense because, let's be real, as I said earlier, we're not getting Cowboy Brock again. Unless you're going to do that rematch, which I would highly suggest against. But putting Cody in that title match too early is dangerous. You can destroy a lot of things here. Because look, there's two things that's possible. You can have Cody lose and then it's just not a good look from the offset, or you make Cody win and you now put in the tide for the crowd to turn on him. And you don't want that, because that man just didn't want to turn heel in AEW. Don't get me wrong, he doesn't write the stories here, but I'm betting that's not going to be what he wants to do now. So, man, who knows? Seeing that Shane tweet just sent me off the edge, and I really had to come and ramble. I don't even know if this is a better outro, but I just had to get it off my chest. Maybe you agree with it, maybe you don't. If you'd like to see the Jade Cargill video, comment down below. And have a good night, guys. Enjoy WrestleMania week. Follow me on the Twitter at GrapsWithDean. I just started that Twitter because I'm going to keep my personal Twitter to my damn self. I don't need too many people following me there. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Peace.